So for making biscuits and gravy, this is exactly what you're going to need. I did want to go over this right here, a sausage, ground sausage. We've got some seasonings, it's up to you, but I like to use salt, seasoned salt, and a little bit of cayenne pepper for a kick. If you're not into anything spicy, you won't want to use that. Then you've got your cornstarch, you've got your flour, and then if you're wanting to, and that's for the actual sauce or the gravy, and then the biscuits, if you have, let's see, if you have this, which is the buttermilk biscuit mix, you will not need the flour, the shortening, and the eggs to make your own biscuits. This is much quicker, and the House Autry is the only brand that I would recommend if you did not do it from scratch this way. But that's what you will need. To set your temperature at 425 before you begin making the biscuits and the gravy. Okay, so first you're going to go ahead and you're going to fry up the sausage. Now, I'll be honest with you, these are, I believe, 16-ounce, 12 or 16-ounce sausages, and I'm actually cooking twice as much as I need to because, and this is a trick I do, whenever I'm like cooking up hamburger or anything like that, I usually try to make as much as I can, and then once it's cooked up, I free portions of it to use in spaghetti sauce or to use in something else later. And it's a much easier like dinner to fix because you're just like pretty much the burgers or the sausage or the whatever you're cooking is already cooked up, and you can make dinner much faster on another thing. But anyway, I put this on medium high for now just to get it going. Put the lid on it. Okay, while the sausage is cooking, I went ahead and just sprinkled some flour on here, which I probably should have waited until I did this part, but you sprinkled flour for when you're getting ready to roll the biscuits. But anyway, on this, like I said, instead of using the egg, the milk, the flour, and the shortening, you can just get something like this. And again, I only recommend this brand because other brands don't taste like the real biscuits, but this saves you a lot of work. But anyway, if you look on the back, it says for 20 biscuits. I have a large family here. You would do 4 cups, which I've got right here, 4 cups. And then you would do 1 1/3 cup of, it says water or milk, but I always use milk. So you're gonna dump this in, and then you're gonna get your 1 1/3 cup of milk, and you're gonna pour that in. And then you're gonna take, you can take something to get it all together, but I just use a really large fork, and then I stir and stir and stir and stir. And then the rest of it, you know, what you do is you gauge it because you don't want it too sticky, but you can just knead it and get it all together and stuff. But as you can see, it's extremely sticky, so I need to add a little more of the mixture, the flour mixture, just to knead it in there so it's not too sticky. So you go ahead and make this ball of dough just like this. Then you're going to come over here and you're going to check your sausage. And you're just going to chop it up really good, and I would say about 5 minutes on that medium high, and then once it's chopped up pretty good, then you bring your heat down to about medium. You put the cover back on it and let it sit for a little more. You go ahead and get a rolling pin and you go ahead and put some flour on that, and then you're just gonna coat it with some flour like this. And you would put some flour on your table here. You take your ball here of dough and you put it right here, and you just flatten it out a little bit. Then you're going to take a little bit more flour. You're going to sprinkle on top because you do not want the pin, the rolling pin, to stick to it. You want to make sure it's really coated with flour really good. You're going to go ahead and start rolling it. Before you roll it, actually, I went ahead and just pressed the roller down on the dough like this. And then I went ahead and flipped the dough and put flour on the other side, which I've already done, but I'll do a little more to show you. And then I just take the roller and I press down before I start rolling it until it's a good size, and then I start rolling it like this. Okay, I went ahead and rolled it out, and I'm going to show you why I roll it out super thin like this. It's about a little less than 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. And so the reason why I do that is I'll show you right now. I take and I make some biscuits, but for the biscuits to be really flaky and everything, and really big, I go ahead and this is what I do. Go ahead and I spray my pan. I prefer, for the cooking spray, I always use, you know, something olive oil based or canola oil. And I just spray the pan pretty good. You don't want to spray it actually too much. Some recommend not to spray it at all when you're using shortening or lard, but I'm not actually using the actual shortening. I'm using the biscuit with the shortening in it, so I just spray it lightly. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add one of the small, I'm going to do a small spray. I'm going to go ahead and add another one on top of it. I'm going to do a small spray. I'm going to go ahead and add one more on top of that, and that will be one biscuit. As you can see, there it looks a little flaky, that it'll rise up and it'll be a little thicker, but that's how I like to do it. And then when your dough looks like this, you just roll it back into a ball and you start all over and you press it down and you roll it again. Here, when you roll it again, just add a little bit more flour on the actual pin and the dough so it does not stick. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and after about 10 minutes, you're going to check your sausage, and as you can see, it is really done good. We're going to put that on low heat, okay? And then go ahead and drain the fat into a jar. Then after the fat is drained, you can see it's all mixed up. I would just cook it for maybe just another more minute under low heat. Put the cover on it. So here you go. You've got some biscuits on here. Some are actually 2 tall, some are 3. It depends on how thickness the dough was, but I've got some. I'm going to put these in the oven here. You're going to go ahead and turn the stove off, and by a couple of minutes it should be pretty cool. You're going to go ahead and put the burger or the sausage, ground sausage, onto a plate with some paper towels just to soak up the grease. But honestly, some people like the grease flavor, but I'm trying to cook low fat, so I'm going to let that soak up as much as possible. Okay, after your crumbles start cooling a little bit and you know, it's soaking into the grease is soaking into the paper, you're going to do 4 cups of buttermilk and you're going to do 4 cups of whole milk, and you can take this recipe and split it in half if you want, but I'm actually doubling it up because instead of putting half of this meat away, I'm gonna just use it all because it's gonna feed, you know, 2 grown big men for a couple days. So so that's, I'm gonna leave all that. So that was, I'm trying to think, it was 3 12-ounce sausage rolls that I had cooked up. And then again, we're going to do 4 cups of buttermilk, or you can just do this whole thing of, let's see, 1 quart of buttermilk. You can put the whole thing in because that's 4 cups. And then 4 cups of whole milk. I went ahead and added that amount of milk, and I'm going to make a larger amount of gravy since I realized they're not only going to be, the men aren't only going to be putting it over their biscuits, they're going to probably want to put their sausage gravy over their eggs and such. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and add 1 cup of flour and a heaping 1/2 cup of starch, and it's heaping because it's actually about 1 tablespoon more than a 1/2 cup. You're going to turn your burner on right before high, a little more than medium high, right around right here, and you're going to start stirring. Okay, so now you have it, your heat on almost high, and you're going to go ahead and stir it up and whisk it real good with the flour and the starch. You've got your milk and your buttermilk. You're going to wait to put your crumbles in until you're done, until the gravy becomes thicker. And then after you stir it up real good, and you want to make sure before you add your seasonings that you keep stirring it before and after, because it is on high heat and it will burn immediately. So the reason why you're stirring it and whisking it real good is because the starch will create a thick gravy. But until it becomes thick, you just sit here and do this. But I'm going to go ahead and add a couple pinches of salt, maybe 3 good pinches of salt. I like seasoned salt, and for this amount, I'm going to add about this much. Go ahead and put the biscuits in. Okay, I went ahead and added the salt and the seasoned salt and just a pinch of cayenne pepper. And you're just going to stir it. And as you see, it's pretty thick, and you're going to gauge it this way. You're going to have to add more milk if it's this thick. But I went ahead and turned it to low heat, as you can see, because that's really important. Once it starts bubbling and getting thick, you want to turn it all the way down to low so it does not burn. And I'm going to go ahead and add, I'm going to gauge it. I'm going to go ahead, it looks like I'm going to add about 2 more cups of milk. And the reason why it's probably so thick is I probably didn't judge the flour and the starch well. I had it on my recipe card, but somehow I probably didn't put in enough milk. And that's one thing about cooking, and I'm going to keep this in here instead of editing it out, because one thing about cooking is you got to know how to fix a problem when it arises. I went ahead and added 2 more cups of milk. As you can see, it's not too thick now. It's perfect, actually. And then a good cook will taste and see. And I tasted a little earlier. It needed just a couple more pinches of salt, and I added it, and it tastes perfect now. I'm going to go ahead and add in the ground sausage. Go ahead and added in the ground sausage, and as you can see, this is homemade sausage gravy. And so just to remind you that you're going to go ahead and, instead of adding 4 cups buttermilk, 4 cups milk, you're going to do 4 cups buttermilk, 6 cups milk, and the same measurements of everything else. As far as seasonings go, I picked those seasonings, but you can season it any way you want. Like I said, if you don't like it too spicy, obviously you're not going to add your cayenne pepper, but I only add a little bit of cayenne pepper. I went ahead and took the biscuits out, and this is what they look like, nice and fluffy. Here are the beautiful biscuits. Here is the biscuits and gravy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Can't wait to eat them.